As we were just talking about, the preliminary hearing for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, that is wrapping up today, actually adjourned until September as both sides build their case. Here with us now is trial attorney Brian Claypool. Brian, thank you for being here. This is obviously a case that is capturing the nation. The preliminary hearing just wrapping up a few moments ago. We know that Robinson is facing aggravated murder charges. That comes with the potential death penalty in Utah. What do you make of this case so far and the prosecution's choice to seek the death penalty?
Hey, Alicia. So just so your audience knows, aggravated murder in Utah involves a shooting that risks the lives of others. That's an example of aggravated murder, right?
Yeah.
That's why prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Because if Tyler Robinson is the shooter, he could have killed a lot of other people. There were kids in the crowd. That's why it's aggravated murder. That's why it has the death penalty. And yes, I believe this case does warrant the death penalty. It's chilling. But let's talk about this preliminary hearing. To me, this is more than a preliminary hearing.
Yeah.
This is no regular preliminary hearing, because all you need to prove, Alicia, is reasonable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the murder, or probable cause. That's a much lower standard. So why are both sides in a fist fight or a boxing match here?
Yeah, it feels like a mini trial.
Yeah, exactly. Here's why. Because this is being watched by the entire world, right? There are prospective jurors watching in that area as well. So both sides have come out and they're putting on a mini trial as opposed to a preliminary hearing.
Yeah, it's being kind of played out in the trial of public opinion at this point. Let me ask you about this, because our correspondent Alex Capriello a moment ago was going over all of the evidence that we have seen over the last couple of days. So much detail coming out, especially in court today. I want to play a bit for you. Watch this.
We have advised Mr. Robinson of his right to testify at this hearing, and he is choosing to take our advice and not testify.
Is that correct, Mr. Robinson? And I note that he's nodding in the affirmative.
What do you make of that decision and the defense's approach to not have Robinson testify at this preliminary hearing that, as we said a moment ago, really feels like a mini trial in the court of public opinion?
Well, I think a big reason why he's not testifying is because of all the evidence you're talking about, right? Yeah. How's he going to explain the following? As I counted, Alicia, there were 4 confessions that Lance Twiggs talked about in court in this videotape. One was the rifle. Tyler Robinson said, hey, I got to go back and try to find the rifle, but there are law enforcement near there, right? I'd argue that's a confession. Then you had a confession where Lance Twiggs said, did you do it? And Tyler Robinson allegedly said, yes, I did. I'm sorry about it. Then you had, that's the second one. Third one's the day after. Lance Twiggs says to Robinson, hey, last night, have you changed your mind? Did you really do this? Yes, I did, and I'm really sorry. I did it. I feel bad about it. And then the fourth one is this note, right? The note under his computer that Lance Twiggs said he found and took a picture of, where Tyler Robinson is saying, look, I have a lot of hate for this guy. I got a chance to take him out, and I'm going to do it. So look, there are 4 confessions in this case.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Tyler Robinson is going to explain that. One last point I want to make. The only chance I really see for Tyler Robinson here is some kind of diminished capacity defense, where he had some mental health issue, where he was bipolar or depressed. He could argue that to reduce this from aggravated murder to felony murder to avoid the death penalty.
Yeah.
But if he takes the stand, right, in a preliminary hearing, that would destroy that argument if it's going to be brought at trial.
And of course, the big difference between the preliminary hearing and the trial is that the defense would get to cross-examine Twiggs and try to poke holes in some of those alleged confessions. Brian Claypool, really appreciate your time and insight again on a case that is capturing the country.
You bet. Have a good weekend.
You too.